Now, if you're like me, you don't pre-order games far in advance. When a game's announced, you're like, oh, cool, but never actually go to the website immediately, pre-purchase or anything like that. Whatever the reason you may personally have, it's valid. But that means that come this time of year, we have a few decisions to make, whether it be for games like Call of Duty or any of the number of games releasing across the industry this year. There's a lot, so the question stands, what's the best bang for your buck? What version, if you're thinking about getting Call of Duty Vanguard, should you be getting? Well, out of trying to figure out the same question here for myself this year, I figured I'd share the options, the thought process, and the reasoning that I've come to here with you today. And before even starting, I get it, it's not a game that's going to be for everybody. That's entirely cool. As I'll always say, gaming's meant to be fun, so buy and play what games you enjoy. If it's not your cup of tea, no hard feelings, just total understanding. It's cool. This video is for those looking for a bit of clarification on everything that's on offer and what may yield the most value for you. In that regard, I hope that I can help. So that said, as we go along, let me know your thoughts. Is there anything of these versions that we discuss here today that really sticks out to you? If you enjoy the video or find it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like down below and maybe share it with a friend who may be having some difficulties deciding if you think it can help them out as well. And finally, with Vanguard now just being over 2 weeks away, we're going to be gearing up for everything you'll need to know. So if you're interested in joining the community, we are on that road to 500,000 subscribers and we'll keep you up to date with absolutely any and everything relating to Vanguard, and I'd love to have you along for the ride. That said, let's jump into it. First and foremost, this year we have a total of 6 editions of Call of Duty Vanguard across the generations of platforms and consoles and their upgradable versions of the game. 3 underneath a sort of main wing here at this. A lot of them being straightforward, but there are some things you should definitely be aware of. So let's start simple. The standard editions of Vanguard. Vanguard's standard editions come in either physical or digital copies, which this is the only version of the game that does have an offering of a physical disc. Actually, let's start there because there are a few caveats in regards to the physical versus digital editions of the game. For those that still like to have the full-on disc, you absolutely still can with Vanguard. However, if you're considering the future and an upgrade potentially on the horizon if needed, you may want to be aware of these. For the PlayStation 4 physical copy of the game, you will be able to see an upgrade option. However, the Xbox One version will not have that ability to be upgraded to the Xbox Series X or S via the Microsoft Store. But if you are considering that standard, what's the price and what comes with it? Well, for $59.99 on either PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, you end up getting, of course, your copy of Call of Duty Vanguard on that console of your choice, the immediate use of the Night Raid Mastercraft for the PPSH in Black Ops Cold War, and Call of Duty Warzone, which utilizes that camo progression system, which it actually just had an upgrade here recently that brought it to its air quote final form. So that's something that is definitely a little cool cosmetic you can use immediately. You also end up gaining immediate access to the operator of Arthur Kingsley from the Vanguard campaign in Cold War and Warzone, and those are the bonuses you end up getting for the physical copies of the game. Now, for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S copies, you can of course get all of that again in a physical format as well, but for the slight upcharge in the game copy, due to just how, I guess, the breakdown of next-gen games are being priced, that comes along for $69.99 with all of what we just mentioned as well. Now, talking digital, this is a bit more of a breeze. You don't need to go out and pick up your copy. You don't need a specific receipt from a retailer and a redemption code or anything like that to redeem your digital items. This is something that will just be instead credited to your account for all of what we discuss here in a second. But digital's been a bigger focus for Call of Duty in recent years, and as such, while we don't see as many versions of the game being offered as, say, Modern Warfare or anything like that, we also don't see physical copies in any of the tiers higher than that base standard. Now, while the digital version is also the digital standard version, you do get a few more things on top of that as opposed to what you'd get with just the physical copy. Now, for all copies of Vanguard that are digital, you of course get your copy of Call of Duty Vanguard on the console of choice. That could be PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, doesn't matter. You also get immediate access to that Night Raid Mastercraft for the PPSH, immediate access to the operator of Arthur Kingsley from Vanguard in Black Ops Cold War and Warzone, but what's new and exclusive then to the digital versions of the game, you get immediate access to the Ghost of War skin as of starting tomorrow, October 22nd, until November 2nd, so you get a cool cosmetic there in Cold War and Warzone as well. A question that I've seen is that for those that have already pre-ordered the game, this should be retroactive, so if you already have a pre-order secure, you will get this immediately as well. The promotion just starts tomorrow, so if you're seeing this on day 1 of this video, it's just not out there just yet. And then also you end up getting, as a digital exclusive, access to to the Frontlines weapons pack at the launch of Vanguard. This includes 2 weapon blueprints, the Shredder SMG, which comes along with 7 attachments and turns the weapon into a mid-range grinder, equipped with a magazine to increase the bullet caliber, a long barrel for accuracy, and additional attachments to improve the weapon's recoil and handling. And also the Wildwood SMG, which comes with 8 attachments, one including a barrel that changes the weapon to a burst fire, another that chambers a higher caliber of ammunition, and others that make it a highly mobile SMG. Now, while not mentioned in any of the marketing for the game, one nice thing that comes along with all digital copies, not just the standard, but even up into the Ultimate Edition, is that you'll be able to preload the game for your platform of choice. That's something that usually comes along around 24 to 48 hours before the launch of the game, and while you can't access the game early like you would be able to, say, if you got a physical copy ahead of street date, it does allow you to jump right into the action at midnight of your local time, or for North America, 9 p.m. Pacific time, leading into the launch of the game. So you don't have to worry about downloading a day one update or installing anything. You can just simply jump right into the game at the very first minute that's live. So a nice little unmentioned bonus here for those that do go the digital route. Now, if you get a traditional PlayStation 4 or Xbox One version of the game for the stated cost of $59.99, it should be noted that you'll have the ability to play the game and get all the specific content that we just mentioned, but there's only one catch. If you're looking to upgrade your system hardware and get a next-gen console at any point, you'll be able to play that game on that console, but not on the application built for that console. The versions of the game are specific to the platform, and so therefore, if you have a standard edition of Call of Duty Vanguard for the PlayStation 4 and you upgrade to the PlayStation 5, that means that you're still going to be playing that PlayStation 4 build of the game via backwards compatibility. Now, in order to get the most out of the game's offering in things built for next generation, like higher frame rate, hardware-based graphical improvements, shorter load time, and other technical advantages, you'd want to consider the cross-gen bundle if this is something you're looking towards. That's something that only has a slight increase in price. For this, you'd be able to pay the price of $69.99, which unfortunately, again, is just covering that cost of the upgrade, it seems. The other way you could look at it is you kind of get 2 copies of the game for a slight increase in price. Now, if you were to go with the cross-gen bundle, you'd be able to play on your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, and then once you upgrade later on down the line, you'd be able to play that fully utilized PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Series S versions when available to you via an upgrade you can make for no additional cost to that application built for the console. But if you end up getting a copy of the cross-gen bundle, that will net you in total, of course, the copy of Call of Duty Vanguard with that console of choice and the ability to upgrade to next gen at no additional cost whenever you choose. You also, of course, get that immediate access to the Night Raid Mastercraft, Arthur Kingsley, immediate access to the Ghost of War skin as of tomorrow, access to that Frontlines weapon pack at the launch of Vanguard, and also additionally 5 hours of double weapon XP to be used in Call of Duty Vanguard at launch. So you get that extra little bonus here that can help out your grind a little early on in the life cycle of Vanguard. And finally, we have the Digital Ultimate Edition. For $99.99, you can get the most content out of any of the various versions of the game. Unfortunately, while it does have a bit more, it does yield a $30 price jump, to which, if that's worth it or not, can come down to your thoughts on what we discuss next, on everything that's included. But additionally, if you're someone who likes dedicated collector's editions, as with last year, there is no higher version than this. No NVG or Juggernog fridge equivalents like we've seen in years prior. But for those that are interested in picking up the Ultimate Edition, or at the very least interested in hearing what it has to offer, you gain all of what we just previously mentioned, copy of Vanguard, and it also is the defaulted cross-gen version with this, so that means that even if you play on a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One right now and plan to upgrade over the course of the next year or so to the fully optimized and built for next-gen versions, you can do that whenever you'd like. You also get that Night Raid Mastercraft, Arthur Kingsley Operator, Ghost of War skin, access to the Frontlines weapon pack, but then also a couple of new bonuses of the Task Force 1 pack, which is 3 operator uniforms, the Shepard Lucas skin, the Arctic Shadow Polina skin, and the Bomber Wade skin. You also end up getting 3 weapon blueprints with tracer rounds, which is something that's coming at launch, it seems, so kind of cool for the cosmetic discussion, but that's a different story for a different day. Those being the Breacher STG-44, which comes along with a described 8 attachments pre-configured, built for most combat situations, but also built to compete with the fastest firing SMGs. The Snowstorm 3-line rifle, which comes with 7 pre-configured attachments, which as a sniper is built for one-shot eliminations, but also is built for max damage with caliber modifications via the ammo type and magazine. And then also the Thunderhead, which looks to be a Type 100, though it wasn't in the beta for confirmation. That comes equipped with 8 pre-configured attachments that focus on accuracy of the weapon, including a 9mm ammo feed, a short barrel that increases the rate of fire, and a few other attributes as well. You get those on top of the previously mentioned 5 hours of double weapon XP to be used in Vanguard that comes additionally in that cross-gen edition, but also you get another 5 hours of double XP, but this time for your overall rank whenever you get the Ultimate Edition. So in total, you end up getting 10 hours between the two, 5 hours of double weapon XP and 5 hours of regular double XP. That can definitely be beneficial to the initial launch grind and ranking up your level and also your weapon ranks as well. And finally, one of the biggest exclusives to the Ultimate Edition is the Battle Pass bundle, that being good for 1 season as described. Now, the Battle Pass bundle may seem familiar because you've probably already seen it in the last 6 seasons of Cold War. You've seen the exact same pre-order or edition bonus last year leading into Black Ops Cold War, and then you saw that bundle for the 6 seasons of Modern Warfare as well. This being immediate access to the seasonal Battle Pass. For most, it'll be Season 1, unless you end up picking up this version of the game and then not playing until after Season 1 concludes, but it also comes along then with 20 tier skips immediately when that season launches and the Battle Pass becomes available. So you're essentially prepaying for the first season of that Battle Pass of Vanguard with this version of the game. So when it comes down to it, the key focal points of that Ultimate Edition as opposed to others is just, again, additional cosmetic items in that pack of the Task Force 1 bundle and that Battle Pass bundle. So circling back to that $30 price jump, that's where you can see any additional or lack thereof in terms of value. If you price each of these things out individually, you'll take about $20 here for that Battle Pass bundle, add that in on top of the $69.99 price tag for that cross-generation version of the game, and you're left with $10 left over to bonuses of 5 additional hours of double XP, and then that Task Force 1 pack. Now, if you were to say price out the Task Force 1 pack, that might equate out to $15, $20 or something like that in regards to what would be an equivalent in the shop right now. So you might still save a little bit, but truth be told, you don't get as much value here, I think, out of the Ultimate Edition as opposed to, say, the cross-generation bundle. The perceived value of that really comes in the way of getting more things that you prepay for towards later on down the line. But okay, now we turn to the recommendation side of things. What's my take on the what's the best version to buy for your money? Well, admittedly, I don't think that there's one lone straight answer, but I think that we can categorize these in ways that could be tailored towards you. So let's create 3 groups here: the casual, the enthusiast or the avid player, and the grinder. For the casual, I'd recommend the base version of the game. This is for the people who may come across the game and have minimal time in their day to week. It's just something that they want to get an hour or 2 on the weekend. They want to blow off some steam and kill some time. For this, again, I'd recommend the digital standard edition as opposed to the physical version for whichever console you're on. Save yourself that trip to GameStop, Best Buy, or wherever you'd end up purchasing it from, and also in the process, net yourself another bonus of that Frontlines weapon pack. You get entry and immediate access at launch also with this, so if you don't care too much for the cosmetics, you don't know how much you'll be playing in the future, but you want to play bare bones and get a feel for it, this is an adequate choice, I think. Don't spend money on what you won't fully utilize or know that you won't fully utilize in that sense. Kind of trim the fat of what you don't need. Now, for the enthusiast or the avid player, for this type of player, I envision someone who plays a couple of hours every day, not just the weekend warrior, but you maybe get on an hour after work or school before starting dinner, or for the younger demographic here, maybe going off and you have those sports and practices or games in the evening, but you're the type of player who goes with the flow but isn't super die-hard invested. For this group, I'd recommend the cross-gen bundle. This covers all the bases on if you'd need an upgrade or if you're working to find a next-gen console if you don't have one already. But on top of that, you'll of course get a bit more in terms of immediate rewards and cosmetics. Additionally, when it comes down to the discussion of double XP tokens, you're also getting what I'd consider the more valuable of the tokens as a bonus for when it comes to the beginning of the year. I'll take having more weapons maxed out than getting to max level a few hours earlier. I've got more time for ranking up my level, that can wait. And then finally, we have the grinder. I think that the grinder, there's a different level here that you can end up examining. If you're somebody that knows you're going to buy into Season 1, you're going to play the game a lot, there isn't anything wrong with getting that Ultimate Edition and sort of pre-purchasing the Battle Pass for Season 1. You get those extra little cosmetics, but if you're going in terms of sheer value, I still think that I would take the cross-gen bundle. Coming back to that part where we sort of dissect each of the items and what they add to the overall value, $20 on top of the $69.99, that would bring you with $10 left over to the purchase price. That Task Force 1 pack, that really is up to you if you think it's worth $10 or not. But when you take a look at the cross-gen edition and what you get on top of that, well, for $69.99, you get everything that the standard next generation version base entry of the game ends up getting, plus you end up getting that Night Raid Mastercraft, that Arthur Kingsley Operator, that Frontlines weapon pack, that 5 hours of double weapon XP. All of that for an added price point of $0.00. Truth be told, I think that cross-gen edition, in terms of overall value and bang for your buck, I think that's the best one to go with. So that's my recommendations and logic behind both. Hopefully the reasoning is sound and checks out, and hopefully it was able to potentially help you out in the process. So let me know, did any of these versions and their bonuses surprise you? Anything you didn't really realize were distinguishing factors between one or the other? What version are you looking to pick up, if any at all? Feel free to let me know down below. But again, hope this helped. If it did in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor, drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Vanguard, Warzone, and anything COD related. We're only 2 weeks away from the busiest time of the year, so if you're interested in joining the community, I'd love to have you. If you'd like to follow a bit further outside of YouTube, my Twitter and Instagram are linked down there in the description below. But anyways, that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. So thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care and peace.